Good evening. We're going to have a look at the foot massage a little bit tonight, but before we do, just settle yourself into a comfortable sitting, whether that's on a stool, a chair, or a cushion on the floor. And feel the base of the body rest. So the foot of the body, if you like, is the pelvis and the legs right now. And then the spine's got a chance of softly lengthening. And the shoulders can relax. So the base posture, as we've looked at over the last few weeks, you can perhaps refine for yourself for a moment. And then feel the easy flow of breath, the kind of relaxed quality to your breathing. The softness to the throat. Kum Nye practice is essentially about making contact. So it's a way of touching sensation, bringing to mind sensation and then resting in that touch. And it can be literal touch. We do have massages that we've discovered, as well as the shapes and movements the body makes. We can also make connection with the body quite literally with the hands. And often we think of massage as quite a vigorous, heavy-handed thing. But I want to, just before we start, explore the quality of touch a little bit. So if you just have a look around you, you may see that there's an object you could lift up, maybe a cup or a pair of glasses or your mobile phone or something, or a toy dinosaur in one case. And just pick it up, whatever it is, as lightly and as gently as you can. And just rest it on your hand, on your palm, and feel its weight, whatever it is. If you need to hold on to it, if it's a glass or something, you can do, of course. And then just with the other hand, just with a finger or a couple of fingers, just very lightly rest on it. And then maybe move the fingers to a different area on the object. And then if you rest the back of a hand or the back of your fingers on whatever your object is, so you just lightly bring the back of the hand and then if you carefully and lightly place whatever object it is down, and just find a piece of fabric, might be as simple as the sleeve of your top or your leggings, and just rub it between your thumb and index finger. So you might just take a sleeve and feel the contact, or maybe the rug in front of you, or the carpet, or a yoga mat, whatever you're on. So just feel some different textures with your fingers or with your palm. And then if you lay a hand on your cheek, just very lightly. And then bring the hand across the body and lay the back of the hand on your cheek. There's different qualities of touch. And it doesn't need to be heavy-handed for sensation to be present. So if your hand's on your cheek like this, gently move it away and see if you can still feel the presence of the hand on the cheek. It has a feeling tone to it that's very subtle. So often we think of massage as being quite pummely, quite heavy-handed, in order to feel something. And I quite like a deep massage, particularly when my muscles are tired or I'm aching. But when we're massaging ourselves, we can play with the pressures and be really intuitive with the pressures. In the same way I can lay a hand, the same way I can feel a piece of fabric, either lightly or firmly, I can address the body like that. So just move your hands around your own body. There's no one else around, so it doesn't matter. Just be loose and free. Any way you like, really. And maybe try different pressures and different rhythms, perhaps. And then, of course, there's different locations. Some areas of the body are by, I was going to say by construction, but by their nature are more sensitive than others. There's more nerve endings in certain places. Never mind our own particular sensitivities. So just a loose, free, easy massage. Completely uncontrived, completely almost spontaneous, if you like. And then just begin to massage up and down one arm, inside and outside. And then switch arms and massage up and down the other one. So we did a little bit of arm massage a week or so ago, but it's nothing as formal as that. And then if you let your hands very lightly move together. Now it's a warm old day where I am. I don't know where you are. I imagine most of you in England it is at the moment. I know some of you are in other far-flung places. So you don't need to warm the hands as such, but you can sensitize them a little bit. And if you just bring your elbows almost to rest on the rib cage, as if you were presenting something in your palms, and then just lightly move the hands in and out. So there's a kind of opening and widening between the two hands. About the level of the bottom of your rib cage or the top of your belly. Good. And then with two fingers in a kind of curved scissor action like that, you just take hold of either side of the nail bed of each finger on the opposite hand, including the thumb, and you just lightly squeeze and then pull away. So you're just sensitizing the fingertips like that. We'll do the same with the toes in a little while. Like that. And then the other hand. So just two fingers, just either side of the nail bed, and you just whip the hand off. You might even hear a little pop or a little click. Hours of fun. As long as you haven't got false nails, of course. and it's painful, apparently. There you go. Good. And just allow yourself to feel the hands for a moment. Rest them in your lap or on your knees, palms up, palms down as you want. Perfect. So for the feet, you need a comfortable base. So if any of you came in late, I did say you can kind of lean against a wall if you want to, or feel free to move around as we practice. Now and again, we'll come back into sitting and just take stock. But if it gets tiring or you find you're cowering to find the leg, then you might need to just freshen up now and again without being prompted. So you're in charge of your body and your posture as you work. I would suggest that you work with a sensitivity. So that may mean slowing down. If we were to do the full foot massage, it would probably take the allotted time we've got to do one foot. So we will go a little quicker than it's described, and we'll leave some of the particular pressure points out and be a little bit more general with it. That's simply for brevity. That's simply to keep it in with the timings. Okay, so if you start with your, just so we're all on the same side, your right foot in front, your left foot can be tucked in and your right foot in front. You're welcome to be a rebel and do the other way, but you might need to translate some of the instructions left to right, right to left. Okay, and all you're going to do first of all is just take a hold of either side of the foot, so your hands embrace around the foot, and you just gently extend into the heel. Now what I'm not doing is straightening the leg. I'll show you that at an angle. My knees bent. I'd rather keep upright and the shoulders down than kind of cower, because I've got an idea that the leg should be straight. So the bit you're interested in really, or there's two things, but one is that you're gently stretching through the Achilles tendon. And the other is that as you pull the foot, it's almost as if you want to stretch the sole of the foot width-wise as well. So you've got length and width there. That makes sense. Good. Breathe with it. And then gently release that. Excellent. You're obviously going to work with your hands on the foot, which, if it means the knee is way up here, you could straighten the other leg. What I do is work with a cushion just under the knee. So my knee's nicely supported. I'm assuming you can all see that there. And then if you have your opposite hand just supporting the heel, so it'll be your left hand on the right foot. Your right hand then, the same hand as leg, just cups around the toes. Just place the hands there, don't do anything else. So the left hand supporting the heel, the right hand's just curving around the toes. And then if you take a grip gently and just pull the two in very light opposite directions, as if you're trying to extend the toes one way and draw the heel back the other. Some of you are holding your breath when you do that. Do less. That very tender touch, if you like. Good. Now if you just support the heel and move your toes backwards and forwards a little. If you can hold all 5 toes, you can. Some of you will find you're holding 4 and the little toes running free. So you might need to play with your grip or do it several times up and down the line of toes to get them all involved. So you just, if I show you, you're just flexing and extending along the width of the foot. the base of the toes really. And then gently rotate so the wrist can just move a little bit like that with the foot in it. I'll come closer and then you can see my foot. So that kind of action. And you can do less than I'm showing you. I'm exaggerating it just so you can see. And if you've got that rotating, which is really coming from the wrist, you of course have access to both directions. You'll probably find you favour one over the other. And my hand's quite light. I'm not grasping, I'm just guiding the toes in circles. That's it. In my case, they're also clicking. And then if you take a kind of grip further down, so you're coming towards the ball of the foot, you can do the same thing backwards and forwards, but now it's not just the toes, you're almost just flexing around the ball of the foot backwards and forwards. So it's a little lower on the foot. It's that same kind of action, but now it includes the toes into the middle or top third of the foot, if you like. So it's just a bit bigger flexion backwards and forwards. That's it. Good. And then just lightly rotate each toe. So if I show you with my thumb, you're just going to go quite loose. Make circles with each toe a little. Woo. And of course, there's two directions you can go in again. Clockwise and clockwise. Don't forget your little toe. Good. Now, when we did this with the fingers, just gently pinch and pull them. You can do it between your thumb and your index finger, or you can do it between two fingers again. And think of four planes, four facets to the toe. So you've got the top and bottom, you've got the nail and the pad side, and then you've got the inside and outside. So if you think of the toe as a sugar cube, you could do four sides of that sugar cube. It's obviously a bit bigger, but you get the idea. You can also just press into the tip of the toe a little bit. Sometimes, particularly around the big and second toe, you get a little bit of crunching. Well, I do, I don't know if you do. So you've got your gentle pinching and pulling and gently massaging along the line of the toes, top and bottom, and the two sides, and a little bit of pressing on the tip. So you can think of kind of five facets, five faces you can play with. And it can be between the fingers, it can be between finger and thumb. It can even be with the big toe, it can be the whole hand kind of embracing it. Depends how big your hand is. How big your hand is, how big your toe is. You can be gentle, or some of you might be inclined to be a little firmer. Now and again, you may need to check your posture, or you may need to check your breathing. Good. And then just rest the foot for a moment. If you need to give your hands a shake, you can, and then just briefly sit. So we're just going to find the space at the bottom of the toes, almost the web, where the toe becomes what we would call the foot. The reality is the toe, of course, extends down into the foot, or from the foot, away out to where we can see the kind of visible toe. So a foot is close to that, bone-wise, and what we can see is pretty much that. Okay, so what you're going to do is just press on your own foot, almost between the bones, where the toe becomes what we would call the body of the foot. Okay, so basically, I'll show you the top of my foot, show you it upside down. You're going to press these points. So in the valleys between the toes, right where the toe becomes the foot, right there, all the way down. And the way to press is probably thumb on top, finger underneath. You can do it the other way around, of course. So you're just pressing top and bottom at those 2 points. And if you go in slowly, you can kind of judge how much pressure you want to put there. So you make the increase in pressure gradual, if that makes sense. And just those 4 points, front and back, or top and bottom of the foot. Like that. You can stay in one, or you can move from one to the other gently, and then maybe linger. Nose and mouth breathing, soften up inside, let things flow. Particularly if this gets sensitive, or you find yourself concentrating deeply, let go of the face. Good. And then just ripple your toes. Spread them, scrunch them a little if you can bear to. Give them a wiggle. Wave at the camera. Oh no, that's just me. Okay, so the next one, you want the ball of the foot, or what some teachers have called the eye of the foot, which is basically, if you follow the line down from the big toe, on the inner line, you find the middle of the foot just here. It's quite sensitive. And the massage text in the Kum Nye book, you can see it behind me, over there somewhere, says something like, if you go in too fast and too hard, it will evoke memories. It's not an experience I've ever had, but the warning is there in the text not to overdo this. And again, you can go top and bottom. So it's a little bit down the groove between the big toe and the second toe in that valley there. And it's more on the sole of the foot that you're interested in. You're just dropping in. You can just circle the thumb a little bit, just massage it there a little bit if you want. Or you can go in as a point, and you probably instinctively know when you're there. And I like the image of the eye of the foot, because it really opens up when you're using the feet skillfully in standing. Good. And then let that rest again. You're going to press the outer edges of the 2 feet. So as the foot, you can do this actually with the foot on the floor if you like. But as the foot rests, you're just going to press down the line on the inside line of the big toe. And then the same on the second, the little toe and the 4th toe there, the outer edges. Down the valley between either the little toe and the 4th toe, or the 4th toe and the middle toe. So on the foot, if I can show you again, it'll be that kind of line. It says there's 4 to 6 points, but you're just gently applying a little bit of pressure there in those kind of toe grooves, in those valleys between the big toe and the fourth toe, up and down the foot a little. Maybe a little on the outside edge of the foot as well. And keep it quite gentle, particularly on the outer edge, little toe edge of the foot. So you want to be comfortable, you don't want to sit like I'm sitting. I'm just showing you my foot up close. Sorry if you're not a foot person. It's all right, it's the other side of the camera. It's miles away. It doesn't even smell. Good. And then you might want to just ripple the foot a little bit, circle it, and perhaps just rest it flat. Just put the foot flat on the floor. See how it feels. So we're going to massage the sole of the foot up and down its length. You might want a little bit of lubrication of some sort, so some massage oil if you've got it, or your foot cream, anything you can use, or you can just rely on the heat of the day, I'll put that politely. So there's the sole of your foot. You can use your knuckles, which is quite strong. You could use your palm up and down, or you could use your fist, either the flat of the fist, or I use sometimes the edge of the fist into the forearm. On a day I really want to knead the arm, I often just roll the ulna, the outer edge of the arm, against the foot like that. But we're going to be more gentle today. So if you just want to rub the palm along the length of the foot, or if you want to rub your knuckles along the length of the foot, you can. And you can go backwards and forwards, or you may find you just want to work from the heel out towards the toes. How light or how firm you are is up to you. And if you're pushing, can you let the body weight do the pushing rather than the arm doing the pushing and getting tired in the body? So use your own weight, your own kind of pivoting action with the torso. It's quite therapeutic as well, just rocking the body as you work. And maybe mix up the strokes. So palms sometimes, knuckles another, fists another. And again, the rhythm you can play with a little. You can make it a kind of soothing foot rub, or you'll make it a quite deep massage. This is where you discover all the hard skin of my case. Around the heel. I think a reflexologist have a field day with my feet. Good. And then what you're going to do is just with the thumbs from the inside edge of the heel, so the big toe edge, you're just going to draw a diagonal towards the little toe edge of the foot. So the line will go from the inside edge across, and then from the outer edge of the heel, the little toe side, across to the base of the big toe. So it's like a St. Andrew's cross. It's like a diagonal cross, like that, across the sole of the foot. So from the inner edge of the heel, the big toe edge, all the way across to the little toes with your thumb kind of. And then you do it from the other side, the outside of the heel, can't find words, towards the base of the big toe. So if I show you on this foot, you would draw a line. Where's his heel? There's his big toe. So you draw from here to here, that line. And then from here to here. That makes sense. I think you've all got that. I might have over-explained that. I've been doing some mansplaining there. Apologies if I did. And you can do it with your thumbs. Just diagonally across the sole of the foot. I could have just said that, couldn't I? Hey ho, we live and learn. I was looking at my notes earlier, and the next stretch I'd written exquisite stretch, and then in brackets exclamation mark. I think it meant that it's now the strong bit for the sole of the foot. So you've got a tendon that runs pretty much from the base of the big toe and the second toe down towards the heel. It becomes the Achilles tendon. It changes consistency as it merges with the bone, but the kind of continuum of tissue runs down and into the heel. So if I show you on this rather grim model, you've got a heel from the sole of the foot. It's actually cut off there so you can see it, but it would attach here really, down into, becomes this. And then around through the heel, it's the same band of tissue, it just changes consistency as it joins bone into the Achilles tendon. So all you're going to do is move the heel away. You kind of peel the heel back. I'll show you on my foot in a second. At the same time, you stretch the top end by pulling the toes back. So with the foot, I'm going to hold the heel, I'm going to grip the heel, and I'm going to grip the toes, and I'm going to prise the two apart. To get the heel away and to stretch this, I'm going to push. So you remember when you did this at the beginning? It's a little bit like that. So I'm pushing the heel away and pulling the toes back gently like that. Now, why does it become an exquisite stretch? Because you then stroke in the groove just inside the tendon. So by bending the toes, you're creating a deeper valley. I went into Welsh then, a deeper valley, and you stroke down either on the kind of crest of that, which is very sore, or on the inner groove, just on the inside line of that valley. And you can do it with your knuckles if you're a bit of a die-hard, or with one knuckle, but you might just want to stroke your thumb up because you've got more control of pressure then. So I've no idea what you can see there in your screen, but it's that, you can actually see the shadow of the groove there. It's into that line there. So I'm stretching quite strongly so you can see it. You can make it lighter. And you can hear in my voice how it's waking me up a little bit. So along that line. If it's too much, because it can be tender, you might just want to give it a miss. Some people really get excited by it, mainly because there's a lot of sensation there, of course. And then sooner or later you let it go. And maybe give the foot a little bit of shake. Just let it loose. So we're going to just separate the two edges of the foot, and we're just going to convex the foot along its length. So it's almost as if you try and bring the top of the foot, which is this, towards each other, as if you were doing that with a foot. And then you want to do that with a foot. So you do, but you do it with the hands either side. And I'm just going to kind of find the lines of the bones with my thumb and just very gently spread the top of the foot wide. And then you do it the other way. You spread the sole of the foot wide. So you've got that action going on and that action going on, but gently. And you can do it up and down the foot a little bit towards the base of the shin and the front ankle and down towards the toes. That's perfect. And then if you place the foot on the floor once more, we're going to leave out the points of the ankle, but what you can do is just embrace around the ankle and you very lightly let the hands circle. So again, you might need a little bit of lubrication there if you want to use your massage creams or gels or whatever they're called. You can do, of course. And then you can just take it into the leg or the leg into the foot. The massage does finish with a kind of stroking down through the valleys of the toes and the lengths of the toes into the floor. So kind of stroking down can be quite specific or it can just be general. So let's just go general. And then proof is in the eating of the pudding, to use a very English phrase there. Sorry, Christina. We're going to stand up and just let your weight play a little through the feet. Feel the difference left to right. It might just help you loosen up as well from having sat for half an hour. So if you just simply stand up and just feel the feet. You can be static, or if you want to go for a little walk around the room, you can do. Just for a minute. Sense your feet. It does make suggestions in the text as to what you might feel, but I'm not going to impose those on you. Just see for yourself. Good. And then give the whole body a shake. So what you can't see there is me shaking my arms and my torso a little, but I am just shaking out. It can be the legs as well, of course. Nice and loose at the ankles, flop at your feet. If you're shaking something off the foot, liquid off the foot. Good. And then bring yourself back to your seat. Now, did you get all that? Can I let you do the other foot on your own while I go for a cup of tea? What do you mean, no? Oh, all right. Let's do the other side then. So, get yourself comfy. Nice and upright, nice and loose, says the headless man. Good. And then if you embrace around the foot, now you don't need to straighten the knee, keep upright in the spine. And just take some soft nose and mouth breaths. And you're just stretching into the length of the leg there, opening the sole of the foot along its length and its width. And breathing. Maybe relax the shoulders. No hunching. Good. And then support the heel, support the knee if you need to. Use whatever cushioning or platform you want. Your hands are going to embrace around the toes and just gently backwards and forwards with the toes. So your left hand on the left foot, unless of course you were the other way around last time. And you're just gently moving backwards and forwards. Gentle. Don't miss out the little toe. It deserves attention too. Good. And then maybe rotating the toes. You can either rotate the whole 5 toes together, or you could do them individually. We'll do that when we massage a little bit each toe. And then if the hand that's on the heel comes around the middle of the foot a little bit, as you circle, you can also circle the ball of the foot. So you're circling the toes still, but from lower down their length into the foot. So before we were circling kind of the visible toe, the sticky out toes. Here the bones of the toes as they descend down into the foot or extend out from the heel, whichever way you go. That's the ticket. And then your gentle pinching of the toes. So you can use that kind of scissor fingers if you like, or you can use finger and thumb pinching like that. You just find each toe. And on those kind of 4 edges and the tip of the toe, the very pad at the top of the toe, you can just gently, like you did with your hands at the very beginning of the session, just pull along their length. Make a tiny bit more space in the joint. And any time you need to loosen up, do so. Goody. When you've had enough of that, or when your toes have had enough, you're just going to press the front and back of the kind of web of the toes, if you like, but just a little below. So these grooves, you just with your thumb and a finger, just very lightly go in and just press between the toes. At the base of each toe, where it becomes the foot, as it were, if we were defining things. And then do the same, but at the ball of the foot, or the eye of the foot. So here and here. So if you follow the line down the valley between the big toe and the second toe, and then your fingers on the ball of the foot, or the eye of the foot here, and you're just gently applying pressure on front and back. You can make it a little bit of a pulse, go in and out, or you can go in slowly and hold. But bear in mind, it can be sensitive. And as the text says, it might bring up memories. Okay. If you're holding firmly, come out gradually and just decrease and release the pressure. Then you've got the outer edges of the foot. So kind of down the line of the fourth toe, fourth and little toe, and down the line between the big toe and the fourth toe. You're just going to press along that line of the foot. So if I can show you, find an angle, kind of like that, up and down. And then you might just want the outer edges here as well, a little bit more distal, more towards the side. As if you're following the kind of inner arch, just at the top of that bridge there. What you can see there, as well as the top. Makes it come alive. And then take a moment's rest. So you can just let the foot settle. Feel it on the floor. Or if you need to shake it out, you can. Likewise, if you need to shake your posture out, your shoulders or anything else, you can. Particularly if it's the end of a long day for you. Which I know it is for many of you. Okay, so either stroking or if you want, knuckling the length of the foot. So just along the sole of the foot or whichever you like. And then the diagonal crosses, maybe with your thumb or with a knuckle, from the outer edge of the heel to the opposite side of the foot, from the inner edge of the heel to the opposite side. So you create a kind of diagonal cross. For the Brits among you, kind of St. Andrew's cross, if you know your flags. Again, it can be very light. It can be almost a caress more than a massage. Or it can be a little firmer. And feel free to mix it up. Do some, oh, so lovingly. And others, you can growl at it. And anywhere in between, pressure-wise, of course. I don't know if you've ever been resting, or even in meditation to sometimes, and a fly just lands on you. You could do it with that sort of lightness of touch. I call it a spider's touch. As if a spider was just crawling across the foot or up the leg. So all sensations have merit. They don't always have to be strong. And some days it behoves us to be gentle. Other days we might need waking up a little bit. So the tendency with massage is to be heavy-handed. Okay, so talking of heavy-handed, you can then draw the toes back and push the heel away, and you expose that large tendon down the length of the foot. And then you can just move along the inside of it, the midline of it, or along its length itself. So you can go on kind of the ridge or the valley, if you know the difference, linguistically. But kind of along that line or just off that line, basically. So you're just exposing that central tendon by pulling the toes back and at the same time sending the heel away. And then either your thumb or your knuckle, or you can just light fingertip it if you want to stay being gentle. There's no reason not to. It can be intense, this one, so do please breathe. And do it with a lot of sensitivity. And it doesn't say so in the text, but in my notebooks, I'd call this the exquisite stretch. It either was once when I did it, or it was tongue-in-cheek. I'll have to date it and see. Good. And then just along the length of the foot, you want to gently convex and concave it. Just bend it in and out along its length, like that. So just gentle peeling and bringing together, kind of rolling with the wrists, or with the arms and wrists. Again, it can be quite gentle, or you can really spread the foot, particularly at its far end, the toe end. There is a lot of play there, but you might need to work into it or do this several times over a number of nights or a number of weeks even. You'd be surprised how much the feet do respond and open up, particularly eventually with lots of TLC and time. Good. And then just lightly circle the foot at the ankle, or you can move the foot with the hand if you want, but just create some space in the ankles. I think we missed that on the last side, but never mind. And then that gentle embracing kind of around the ankle itself, that kind of movement. So be careful of friction there. You might need some lubrication. You can also pinch either side of the Achilles tendon. There's a little indentation, both on the inside and outside. So you can do that. Again, we missed that with the other one, maybe because your teacher's memory is getting on as he gets older. Ha, ha. Good. And then maybe just follow the line of the valleys of the toes from the ankle down to the far ends. And then general rubbing. And maybe bring it up into the calf and shin a little, just nice and loose and free. So we join the foot to the rest of the system. Good. We're going to finish sitting in a moment, but before we do, we're going to do a tiny, tiny beginning of an exercise. So if you come to your feet, And what you want is about 2 feet, about 80 centimeters ahead of you. So you've got space to step into, perhaps. And just feel the feet on the floor. You can feel the spread of the foot. Maybe pick the toes up, put them down again. Maybe rock the weight subtly backwards and forwards. It doesn't need a big movement or even a slight circling. So feel the aliveness of the 2 feet. Maybe feel the texture of what's underneath you, your mat or your carpet or your flooring. Good. And then, like we did with the chicken walk a few weeks ago, if you send the knee forwards, the heel will lift. And then you just put the heel down and you imagine you lengthen it back a little bit, as if you're trying to make the heel longer than when it went up. I always get the image of a bird of prey, like an eagle or something, with that back talon extending back and down. So you may find that the foot you've just put down feels longer than the other one. So you need to do the same on the other foot. You can send the knee gently forwards, which will pick up the heel. And then as you put the heel down, imagine you're stretching through the length of the foot. There may not be any physical or visible difference, but the feeling is one of more length, of the foot opening up. Good. Then feel your weight. Relax the rest of the body through the support of that first gesture of the feet on the ground. Nice open quality to the rest of the body. Let your breath drop in. If you need to, sigh. And then that gentle, gentle nose and mouth breathing. Eyes softly open. Just allow your weight to play a little more onto one foot. So you very slightly pull the weight down one leg. You can slowly disengage the free leg, the lighter leg from the floor. So you may lift the heel first, some of you may lift the toe. And just allow it to step forwards a couple of centimeters or an inch or two. And feel it re-establish itself on the floor, whether that's the ball of the foot and then the heel, or whether that's the heel and the ball of the foot, or whether they land simultaneously, which is unlikely, but possible. And slowly, slowly allow your weight to transfer onto that foot. Feel yourself take your weight through that leg. Notice the impulse for the other heel or foot to lift, and then let it lift. Bring it forwards and allow it to engage with the ground. You may notice as the ball of the foot lands that your weight goes to the little toe edge or the big toe edge first. So notice whether you roll in or you roll out as you step. Moment by moment attention as you transfer or place and transfer weight. Don't be in a hurry on the other side. You may find you've instinctively already lifted. If that's happened, notice. And sooner or later you can transfer weight and slowly step the other leg through. And let it re-engage with the ground. Slow transition of weight. Other foot, and so on. If you can, and if you dare, slow it down even more. You may find you want to play with turning. It's the same thing, except of course the legs turn, but still a slow transfer of weight. You can also experiment with walking backwards, which is always quite interesting, because you can't help but be attentive. Sometimes I lay a yoga mat on the floor and walk to one end of it, and then walk backwards to my starting point in this slow walk, particularly when I'm limited in space, in floor space. Walk up and down the length of the hallway, which is about 8 feet long, and that's it. So there's a bit of homework for you, and you can of course do it outside, but you get funny looks. So maybe in a secluded place, or your own garden if you're lucky enough to have one. And when the weather's like it is at the moment here, outside on the grass, it's really nice. Good. So I'll leave that one with you as homework. But when you're ready, bring yourself mindfully back to your cushion or your seat. So come back to sitting when you're ready. If you are absolutely exhausted, you may prefer to rest with your legs inverted. So you could put your legs over a chair on your back with your legs up, or indeed up the wall. So they're all possibilities, and they're all quite nice after the foot massage to make your feet the highest points. So they're all possibilities. The general recommendation among the diehards among you is to rest in sitting. But you can break rules, you're allowed. So as well as the aliveness of the feet, you may find from massaging that there are other tensions within the body. There are other sensations within the body, simply from having been in particular shapes and positions. So you may need to micromanage anything. If you need to move the shoulders or the head and then come back to stillness, you can, of course. And there's nothing to stop you doing more practice later, before bed, he says optimistically. And at some point come to stillness. Allow that kind of drawing inwards of attention. And then maybe with a lightness of touch, feel. It can, of course, be the feet, but it doesn't need to be. As you feel, there's no goal, no agenda, no right or wrong. You simply make contact and rest with it. You may find the soft breathing will help you soften into sensation or soften with sensation. When you're ready, take a few deeper breaths. And then gently move the upper body a little. Maybe roll your shoulders or lift and lower your shoulders. You can go slowly. Maybe turn the head a little from side to side if your neck needs easing. I appreciate you've been sitting for a long time. You may need to or want to stretch your legs out or fold forwards or twist or anything else that your body instinctively needs. Good. And then we'll finish with what's called a closing gesture. So if you just let the hands touch each other, almost with the fingers lightly hooked, and the back of the hand rests softly on the forehead. That seals your practice in. And then invert the hands, turn them around, and rest them on the forehead. And then simply give the practice away generously for the merit and benefit of the practice can spread far and wide. Thank you all very much indeed.